everybody. We are here with Shadow and Tingana, who are, well, they're not doing much really. They're just sleeping there in a probably post-coital bliss, but apparently they haven't been mating much today at all. So perhaps, much like when we saw Karula and Tingana when she came into estrus, perhaps they're just not into the full swing of things. And for those of you who've never watched leopard mating before, or any kind of cat mating before, it is really astonishing. They will probably mate when things get really going. They will mate up to probably 10 times an hour at the real height of the mating. At the moment, these two beautiful cats are just sleeping quietly in a very thick area. Only space for 2 vehicles, that's why it took us a little bit longer to get in here than I'd hoped. But now we are here. We'll spend a bit of time with them and just enjoy what I think is Africa's most beautiful cat. That's the male there. That's Tingana, a 9-year-old male, and Shadow, a 9-year-old female. And she's up and about. Now, I don't mean that she's kind of running around the place, but she won't sleep as soundly as him. If she's coming into estrus, she will be highly charged, and you'll find that she'll be feeling probably uncomfortable. Now, the really interesting thing for me about this is that Shadow was in estrus some time back, probably about 2 months ago. She had an extensive mating incident or affair with this male, Tingana, and also the Anderson male from further west of here. And if she's now, look at that big chap, if she's now in estrus again, chances are, well, definitely, that she definitely didn't fall pregnant last time round from either of those 2 males. So if you are sending through questions, I'm afraid we are having some difficulty with the radios, so if you are sending through questions, we will try and get them to you. We'll try and answer them as quickly as possible, but we are in a very thick area, and that does make communications a little difficult. Just on the topic of the amount of mating that poor old Tingana's had to do, I'm being sarcastic when I say poor Tingana, it is amazing, and as Gerda, as you say, he's had to be a very busy boy. He certainly has. I'm just going to wait for this other vehicle to move out, and then we'll probably try and get into the area where he was. I might actually have to get out of his way, otherwise I don't think he's going to get out of here. He's in an enormous car, unlike this very nimble little thing that we have. It's a bit like Brent Leo Smith versus me, you know, nimble versus lumbering.
Are you playing with something?
Oh, yes. We're playing with a piece of plastic.
It's very noisy.
Sorry about that, Andrew. Difficult to please. It's been very obstreperous today. I think this is an interesting... Sorry, before I comment on what has been commented on, I'm just going to move forward a bit and see if I can get a slightly better view before the other vehicle comes in. Oh dear. It's close. I nearly turned us over. How's that, Daniel? Say when.
Okay, stop.
Marvellous, marvellous. So I think what I heard was, Janet, you were saying that, or asking, do I think he knows the difference between the two females? Yes, I definitely think he knows the difference between them. They are mother and daughter, and so they're they probably seem quite similar to him, but I'm sure he knows the difference. Beautiful, isn't that wonderful? Incredible shot with a big male in front. Oh dear. Andrew? I've lost a picture completely. You think we're okay? Probably just the HDMI. There we go, we're back. Not sure if you lost any picture there, everybody. A couple of cable issues here that we're just sorting out. Engineer Andrew is on the money. And as I was saying, you can just see that she is far more aware and awake than he is. Okay, I'm just going to call in the other vehicle. Louis, do you copy? Make your way. I think Andrew's pulled up. And perhaps if you're a new viewer and you're not familiar with the radios, we do need to stay in radio contact with the other guides around the place, because they do obviously help us find sightings, and likewise we help them. There we go. And even in this light, you can see the difference in the size. She is much smaller than him.
It's a game correction. Yes, I know so.
It's affecting sound.
Turn it off, I think, if you can't.
I don't even know if you're live. You got view, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Oh, no, I hope people are seeing this. Oh. There we go. You got a picture?
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm not sure if we live. What an astonishing thing to see if we are live. This is just fantastic. Louis? Turn the radio off, and it's interrupting our broadcast. So will you take over control, please? Apparently we do have a picture. That is excellent news indeed. I don't think the radio is actually making a difference. I think it's something else. Oh, Rex, wonderful. Just getting messages that we are live, but despite the fact that I can't see what's going on, you can see and hear what is going on. So, and I just want to give you an idea of how incredibly close they were to us. They're probably less. experience cats like this when they are totally unaffected by our presence is just spectacular. And if you haven't seen mating leopards before, that is interesting. A little bit grim, but interesting. Now that, of course, needs no introduction, but what you can maybe make out, and maybe get a little, that penis is barbed on the end, and that is what makes that such an aggressive affair, that mating. That amazing. It's so close we can't even see. Now she's got up to follow. Oh, and he's now lying so close to us that we can't actually get a picture. You want to come round? Yeah. So I'm just pulling them around the other side of us. Somebody has just made a joke. I didn't get the name. They're basically almost in the car. Look at this.
Amazing.
Isn't that the most blood-curdling noise? And somebody couldn't get the name, I'm afraid. Radio communications are not great. Made a wonderful, well, not so wonderful for Tingana, and clearly incorrect statement that maybe he needs a little blue pill. He does not need anything of the sort. He's performing admirably this evening. He's walked off. He's lain down. I can't just see him. He's just in front of this other vehicle, so we won't be able to see him until we move. And she'll watch him continuously. She'll hound him. She'll make sure that she stays with him, because it's her, as you can see, that creates, or doesn't create, it's her that is the seductress. It's completely unlike it is with a human being, but mainly it's normally us men that are then trying to do seduction. A little bit forward. I don't think we're going to be able to follow them in there, to be honest. And did you need this light on? Yeah.
Off might be nice, actually.
Off. Okay. There we go. So, everybody, here she comes again. She's coming down the hill. And an interesting question, I think it's from Beth. She is now, of course, mating with mother and daughter, or he is mating with mother and daughter. Let's say they both have cubs. Let's say one's male, one's female. Would the cousins, well, they'd be cousins, I suppose, and second cousins, amazingly enough, first and second cousins in the same way. Would they mate with each other? Would they know about any sort of kinship recognition? I think they would mate with each other. I don't think it's unusual, and it certainly doesn't seem to harm the society. Wow. This is just spectacular. Alright, everybody, I'm afraid we can't spend too much longer here because there are another 2 people trying to get in here. So we are going to probably leave the next 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to find out where those other stations are. But we did have an incredible view so far. Station on standby for... hang on a second. I don't have radio comms now. Louis, is the other chap coming in?
He's going to go around and see if we can get him on the other side.
Okay, cool. So we don't have the radio working at the moment. Yeah, I'll try to go around the side where Andrew came in. Let's see if we can't get pretty thick stuff, everybody. So we'll try and make our way. Right there, Andrew?
Yes.
Aerial's still okay?
Plus minus.
Plus minus. Good. Okay, let's get it on here. Ooh, large termite mound. So they came. So, 2 days ago, we watched Tingana and Karula also mating, and they had killed a buffalo together. And Arius, Lynn, you want to know if these two will do the same thing? They may well. I'm not sure. I've actually never seen it before, but I've definitely read about it before. Absolutely, they may well try and hunt together. I'm going to have to turn the radio back on because I can't tell what's going on. So I'm hoping it's not going to destroy the broadcast. There they are. Is that them there? Not sure. Has any station got visual of these two animals? Okay, look at that. They're actually damn. There we go. Going to find out if anybody else is trying to get into the sighting. Are there any stations on standby for the sighting? Okay, probably that. Great news, everyone. We can stay. There's no one else coming to the sighting. So we'll just pop over the hill here, and there they are. Well, sort of. Not sure that we can pop over the hill without doing ourselves some serious damage. You see them there, Luke? There we go. We'll just let them walk quietly through there, and then we'll try and drive down there without causing too much noise. Andrew, do you think we can go straight over the top?
I don't see why not.
Okay, well, here we go. They're having a drink. Marvellous. We might be drinking with our Land Rover in next to them. Lovely odor of catfish rotting. There we go. And leopards will drink a lot after such a thirsty work on a hot day. They don't have to drink, though. They get a lot of water from their prey. And just a quick recap for those of you who perhaps haven't been watching. I know, Mo, in Chicago, you've just joined us. This is Tingana and Shadow, 2 9-year-olds. And Tingana, the interesting sort of soap opera part of this Days of Our Lives, Bold and the Beautiful type part of this sighting, is that he was mating with her mother not a week ago. And apparently there is a sore on the back of his back left leg. I haven't seen it. Can you see it, Andy?
He's not lying very nicely.
Yeah.
To see.
her leg. Oh, seems to be a sore on the back of her left leg. I don't know. I didn't see it, I'm afraid. I don't think it's anything serious. She's certainly not limping at all, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Let's stay with him for now. I'll tell you why. Because if there is going to be any kind of mating, it will be her that induces it. So if we stay with him, she will come back to him, I suspect. She's just there, the other side of the dam. And just to clarify, I think, Sherry, you're a bit worried about incest here. This is not a father and daughter. That's not to say father and daughter wouldn't mate as leopards. They definitely do it less than lions do, but it is possible that father and daughter could mate with each other. They say with these cats, or lions specifically, up to 6 generations of inbreeding can be tolerated before deformities start to be seen. And so, as I said earlier, now, we had a little bit of a debate about this the other morning when we saw Tingana with Karula, and Sheila in Illinois. You have correctly pointed out that 2 months ago, on the 21st, they were seen mating. Shadow and Tingana. Shadow is very clearly not pregnant. He's been seen mating with Karula as well. She hasn't fallen pregnant as yet, so she's had 2 matings with him before without falling pregnant. And as we discussed on Saturday, maybe he has a problem. Is he perhaps, not to put too fine a point on it, firing blanks? Well, I would say that was a possibility, Sheila, except that she has mated with Anderson as well. And we know that the Anderson male also didn't manage to conceive with her. So I suspect, I don't think it's an issue of that. I'm not sure why neither of them have conceived. Karula's getting a little bit old. That might have something to do with it. I think the fact that Sindile was still around when she mated with him last time perhaps would have... Maybe she didn't ovulate. Maybe she just came into kind of a forced or premature estrus and perhaps didn't ovulate because her less or just a year-old cub Sindile was still around. I'm not sure. I really couldn't say, but it is an interesting one going forward to watch if Tingana is perhaps not firing on all cylinders. I don't... And then far more traditionally, of course, now, to find her mating at this time is not unusual. It is with all the cats. As soon as they lose cubs, they do come into estrus. Sometimes it's a false estrus, sometimes it's a real one. And Marisha, you're absolutely correct. The loss of Sindile recently could well have brought her back into estrus, although remember that she was mating. She did go through a full mating cycle with 2 male leopards before Sindile left. So, yeah, it's difficult to say. Fascinating stuff. It really is so interesting. And for those who perhaps new viewers, just to give you a quick recap of Sindile. Sindile was Shadow's, or is Shadow's son. He's a year old. He unfortunately caught a rabid dog not too long ago, and so he was taken away to a rehabilitation center where they were just going to check that he didn't show any signs of rabies. So far, so good. And they now are looking for a tracking collar, and it has to be a self-detaching collar because he's still growing so much, because they'll want to track his movements, so they're going to put a collar on him so that they can follow him. But apparently these collars that what they call self-detaching, so it'll fall off on its own as he gets bigger. Apparently they're very rare, difficult to get hold of, and that's one of the reasons that we aren't seeing him. Now, we had a comment about a possible injury on the back end of Shadow. Well, he's limping. Now, for a leopard, if that doesn't look great for him, I have to say. That's worrying. He's far more interested in the game drives than he is in his duties as a male leopard. They prefer the seclusion of behind the Land Rover there. Let's move. A little bit back. Now there are lots and lots of questions about why, and I don't mean this from the viewers or necessarily, I mean from just generally about why on earth cats need to breed so often. And one of the reasons is that it helps to induce ovulation, and it helps to it induces ovulation and helps to guarantee a pregnancy. And actually, you want to know if the amount of times that they mate makes a difference to how many cubs they produce. Actually, it doesn't make any difference at all. 1 cub, 2 cubs, it doesn't make any difference. And that is just a simple fact of biology. And that simple fact of the biology is that every time a male mammal, and I think it's just about the same for every male mammal, ejaculates, there are millions and millions of sperm in that ejaculant. And what that means is that, you know, if there is an egg there to be fertilized, it will be fertilized. How many cubs they have is purely to do with the number of eggs there are in the uterus or about to come down into the uterus from the fallopian tube. I'm just going to let some of the other guys have another look. We are all fervently hoping that one of these leopards will have cubs soon. I haven't seen leopard cubs here. I've seen them in other places, but not here. Wouldn't it just be the best, as Donna suggests, for us to have 2 litters of new cubs? So I'm afraid it's a little bit thick in here, so we may have to wait our turn before we get another proper look. But they are moving along the road, and I don't know if you saw there, he is definitely marking his territory, I think. Thank you very much. How's it going? Thanks a lot. Okay. Yes. While we're on the road here, of course, and they're moving down the road, not doing much, and we're in the way of various vehicles. Let's go across to Brent. If we get into a decent position, we'll come back and we'll look at them. Let's head across to Brent. He is with some much larger animals coming out of the water.
I'm so jealous of you guys and James right now. You guys must be having the most fantastic time over there. So what Brian and I have done is we've been sitting really quietly here and hoping to show you guys something we don't see too often. I'm just going to put the light on them quickly. And the hippos have been slowly moving closer and closer to the edge of the water. And we're hoping we will catch them leaving the Buffalo's Hook waterhole before the end of drive. Heading out to go graze, and they have been moving ever so slowly closer to the edge, that they should be going out sometime quite shortly. So hopefully we may be able to catch them before they do. And also this is the last area where the tracks of Karula were seen, so also a good place to sit quietly and listen, and even maybe she might surprise us with a cameo appearance for a drink at the waterhole.
Going to be crossing back to the east. Thank you. I'll see you in the morning.
And that's Craig on his way home.
Good evening. I'm back to the east. Any updates?
I think Craig's got confused between his radio channels. Craig, you're still on the northern channel.
Can I speak to Clara quick?
Yeah, of course you can.
Tara for Andrew.
Just speak. Don't ask her to come in. No, she's talking to Brent.
Tara, if you can go back through the clips and record this stuff, that'll be great. I don't have a memory card.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Sorry about the couple of bits of confusion. Every time I start the car, the radio cuts off. We are live, and we'll see if we can't get hold of these leopards again. We did see them mating yet again. So poor old Tingana, who was accused of needing a blue pill, clearly is doing his job. I can't see them in there. Down the road. Are you guys pulling out? Thanks very much.
Thanks, man.
Right. They're all ours. Wonderful. There we go. Mating again. No, they're not. I don't know where she is. She will be around here somewhere. No, that's... Who's that? That's Mr. Mrs. is around here somewhere. We'll just gently move behind him. I'm not sure where his Mrs. has gone. Look at that. So he's walking actually a bit easier. So he looked like he was injured. He's probably just a bit stiff from lying around all day. Probably a slight injury. He and Karula, Shadow's mother, did kill a buffalo a little while back, a few days ago, young buffalo. But that was a big animal for him to have killed, and perhaps he got a bit damaged during the hunt. Okay, we're going to quickly go across to Brent. I'm going to keep with the leopard. See you just now.
So there go the hippos. We're just going to show them quickly and say our quick goodnight. Sorry we weren't able to be out there for the most of the safari, but it seems like we've fixed our technical issue for now at least. And so from Brian and myself and the large bottoms departing the Buffalo's Hook waterhole, hopefully we'll see a lot more of you on the Sunrise Safari, and have a wonderful evening and enjoy those leopards with James.
Right, you're back with us. Tingana is marking territory. He's walking along a territorial boundary here. He's marking territory. I don't know where she's gone. But like I said, it'll be best to stick with him, because she, of course, is the inductor or inducer of this mating episode. He won't go chasing her. She will chase him. So we'll follow him and see what happens. I mean, I can't imagine that she isn't around here somewhere. She may have got sick and tired of it and moved on. It's not likely to happen, though. He is definitely limping. Can you see that? Now, the crucial thing for a leopard, okay, it's dangerous for them to get injured. They are not like lions, so they live totally on their own. And if they do get injured, of course, there's no one to help them feed. So he will need to get over that very quickly. Let's just carry on slowly. I think that this injury was probably caused during that hunt, either during that hunt with Karula the other day, when they took down a buffalo together, or it's possibly during all this mating. Now, what you notice is that when they come across, or when he dismounts, what happens is she flicks over and she starts to, she'll hit him, and perhaps her claws got into him, and that may be what's wrong with his foot. I don't think, I'm afraid I missed the name because we were starting the car. I think it was Abby, maybe. Eddie Abbey. I don't think that it was caused by a territorial fight. If leopards have a territorial fight, and it's not usual, it's unusual, normally they'll just sit next to each other and growl, a bit like two men facing off in a bar, neither of them wanting to really test one against the other. And that's what leopards generally do. And if he had had a proper territorial fight, he'd be sore on the head. He'd definitely have taken some hits and bites on the top of his head. So I think this has been caused by mating or the killing of that buffalo the other day. I just hope it heals. Now, apparently, this is not the first... I've gone to sleep. There she is. Look at that. She's just gone out in front of him. She's looking for him, and he's hiding from her. Too late, chum. She's got you. This is just unbelievable. He's had a guts full of this. He's trying to mark his territory, and all she wants to do is his mind is not on the job at all. Side light, Andrew. Are you okay with that?
Just put the side light.
Okay. Does that help?
That's good.
Okay. Let's sneak a little bit forward. Now, the good, very, very good news about what they're doing now is they're heading straight towards Juma. That means we should be able to have them to ourselves tomorrow with any luck. He is playing hard to get. He is disinterested. He's marking his territory. He's a man on a mission, and he's being distracted, and it's starting to irritate him. You could see as she came up, he put his ears back, turned his head as if to say, "Oh, really? Now? Again? Surely not." So, everybody, we are going to... Let's just watch what happens here. It's nearly time for us to go. Let's just watch what happens here. See if they actually do get it on, as it were. But he is just not interested. This is marvelous to watch. We'll just watch the end of this little sequence of seduction. There we go. There, well done. Brave fellow. Well done, Tingana. Now you can see how that might well have hurt his foot. Don't hurt his foot, Shadow. Wonderful. So, Carla, as you say, every man's hero is Tingana. Well, certainly some men's heroes. Might be Script from The Bold and the Beautiful circa 1989 or so. I think that's when I last watched it. So, as they walk off into the darkness. It's time for us to say goodbye, a very quick goodbye. We've run a little bit over time, which of course is no problem for us at all, and I'm sure if you're on the internet there enjoying this, it's probably no problem at all as well. Big thank you to Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for all your technical work today on the camera, and good job with the filming. He's put a blinding light on the top of his camera. I actually will probably not see before the morning. Big thanks to Brent for his 3 minutes on camera today with Brian, and of course to Eugene and Tara and Louise and all the work that they do. Thanks very much, girls. And Guy, we will see you, everybody, tomorrow morning for the Dawn Safari. Thank you for your questions and comments. Always appreciated, especially from our newer viewers. Tell us where you're from next time around. It's good to hear from you. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 05:30. Bye-bye.